Welcome back. Currency administration in Africa is an aspect of the economy carefully managed by different governments. The Zambian example of the kwacha to the greenback is brought to bear by the chairman, Multi-Facility Economic Zone of Zambia, Mr. Patrick Chisanga, who wants Nigeria to liberalize the naira.
One, I would say that what Africa needs are not strong men running institutions. What we need are strong institutions, because then they become sustainable. And this applies in the space of corporate governance reform. Corporate governance has become so fundamental in the economic development agenda of the world that no economy can develop in a sustainable way without employing sound corporate governance practices across sectors, including the banking sector, and in particular the banking sector, because you see, the banking sector is an industry which has the greatest impact on everybody in the economy. You know, if a cement factory breaks down or collapses, it will affect a few people. If a bank collapses, it affects a lot more people, including the confidence in the banking system itself. So I shared some experiences as to how corporate governance can be strengthened across sectors, and in particular in the banking industry. And one specific recommendation I have left behind as food for thought relates to foreign exchange administration. In Zambia, we had a very, very tight foreign exchange regime for a long time. In fact, at one time, we were rationing foreign exchange through a system where every week the central bank would auction foreign exchange, to the industries, depending on what was available. And we experimented with all these methods. In the end, exactly 24 years ago, in March 1994, the Zambian government took a very bold decision, and that was to fully liberalize foreign exchange management. And so since that time, there have been no exchange control restrictions whatsoever in Zambia. Now, I need to recognize that and to admit that in the first 9 months of that policy instrument, we saw quite a bit of capital flight. You know, people who had no access to Forex within Zambia and some of our neighboring countries for that matter. I know that South Africans, for instance, because there was a very tight exchange control regime in South Africa, they would come with their rand and sell it to our banking institutions and take dollars out. And we allowed it. Until after some time, they realized that, look, there's not a shortage of this foreign exchange. And in fact, after 18 months, we began to see net inflows of foreign exchange into our country. And this also resulted in stabilizing the macroeconomic instruments. The rate of inflation stabilized. And for the last 10 years, we've been single-digit inflation. The exchange rate has also stabilized. And from the times when it used to fluctuate to 3-digit numbers, for the last, again, about 10 years, we have almost been at single figure. Right now, it's slided a little bit, and we're about 10 kwacha to $1. And it makes it easy to plan, and facilitates planning and the running of businesses. And also, we have seen that as a result of the measures that we have introduced, multiple exchange rates in the economy have been wiped out. I was talking to some of my colleagues here, and they were telling me, I said, look, what is the exchange rate for the US dollar to the naira? And they were telling me, well, it fluctuates between 316 and 360. That's what I was told, so that must be correct. In Zambia, the exchange rate would differ from one institution to the other by point something unit. So 10.2 there, or 10.3, 10.0. And this stabilizes the economy. The economy is not overheating. And so, out of these experiences that Zambia has gone through, we felt that we could offer some advice to our big brother, Nigeria. And one of the important, and I dare say courageous recommendations I've left behind is that Nigeria should consider liberalizing its foreign exchange regime even more than is the case at the moment. And I say this with the fullest love for Nigeria. This is a country I have come to in different capacities, mostly as a Rotary leader, and I have many friends here. I even have family here, I can tell you that. And so I, like many other Africans, we look at Nigeria as our flagship for Africa. We are keen to see Nigeria continue to be strong as the strongest economy on the African continent. And so whatever we can do or recommend, I feel that one should be able to do so.
And finally, on the program, the global oil market, prices were mixed in early trade today with worries that Saudi Arabia and Russia will pump more crude weighing on the market. Saudi Arabia and Russia have discussed raising OPEC and non-OPEC oil production by 1 million barrels per day to counter potential supply shortfalls from Venezuela and Iran. Brent crude was down 1 cent at $75.38 a barrel after settling up 9 cents on Tuesday. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was up 13 cents at $66.86 a barrel, having earlier settled down $1.15. And that's it on the program. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Chimeze Obi Iwago.